What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So, I want to talk about this uh, Calvin Klein ad with Chika. Chika is a rapper, and well, an up and coming rapper. And she is plus size, and she is dark skinned. And, some people are sort of feeling some ways about the ad that she did with Calvin Klein. On one hand, some people are saying that the ad is, great for, plus size black women. On the other hand, people are saying like, this isn't a good look for black women in general. Here's my personal take on this, and this is just me, but I'm just like, really, Calvin Klein, this is the best you could do for diversity and inclusion, for dark skinned black women. And I'm not trying to be shady toward Chika, because I feel like the ad could have worked a lot better if they actually put in some effort into the ad. It doesn't really look like they put in much of any effort into the ad when it came to Chika. Like the lighting didn't seem really all that spectacular. Um, the the setting that she was in, it looked like she was in like a crack house or a meth house. Look at the walls. Look at the background in the wall. It looks a little like um, faded. Like the background looks a little faded, kind of like you're in some weird, not a weird place, but like somewhere where they haven't really kept up with the upkeep of the room or the building, right? That's why I say it look kind of look a little bit like a crack house or a meth house or something. I mean, not that I like frequent crack houses or meth houses. I'm just saying, this looks like how I would imagine one to look. You know. Also, the pose that they had her in. I think I saw like two different poses. One was with her kind of like laid on the couch, and I feel like for a woman of Chica's size, that pose, it didn't work. They could have chosen a different pose for her to do. Um, Also, there was another pose of her with her um, legs spread wide open. That didn't work so much either. Um, Again, I think if this were to work, I think that they should have given someone, either Chika should have did better poses or someone should have directed Chika to have done better poses. Something as well, the lighting and the background, and probably even what she was wearing too. But that was Calvin Klein's choice, so you kind of have to go with what the client wants, at least in that aspect, right? Because it's their clothes. And ultimately, I guess you do have to go with what the client wants in terms of this whole situation. But still, I'm like, well, something has to give, right? Um, and by the way, the light skin mixed biracial chick India Moore that they used in the ad, and I guess they were trying to juxtapose her with Chika. She is actually transgendered. All right, so low key, it may even be a little extra shade thrown in there, like, oh, let's compare her to the transgender model, who's light skinned and mixed. So even something there. And some people are saying like, hey, maybe they could have offset it Chica with, like a brown skinned, dark skinned woman who was more so like thinner and basically more so in the beauty standard, right? So they would have like, a plus size dark skinned woman with like the model-esque dark skinned woman. So it kind of would help offset each other in a way. Right? It balances things out, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's something to think about too. They could have did that, but you know, it's like, one dark skinned woman's enough. Honestly, I think that's how some of these ads do when it comes to like, diversity and inclusion, right? Like we gotta like, we don't need two dark skinned women. They're pretty much interchangeable anyway. Right? I guess we can get this biracial chick here. Oh, she's transgendered? Oh, even better. Now we're like super inclusive. Oh, we included her because she's transgendered. Not because she is light skinned and mixed and fits into the beauty standard a lot better. All right. Um, and I've heard some other plus size black women's names being thrown around in this conversation too. And it's something to think about. Like say Gabourey Sidibe. Sidibe, her name was thrown around, I think. Maybe. But Gabourey Sidibe has gone on her own weight loss journey, right? Because we hear about this whole body positivity thing, and then some people, and to be fair, from where I get my plus size, female news from, um, she has said that, don't be fooled by this. She's plus size herself, and she's like, don't be fooled by this whole body positivity shit, because to keep it real, like folks do be thinking about what it's like to be thinner. Again, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that someone else who is plus size said that. And again, she speaks for herself. She doesn't speak for everybody, right? But I'm just saying. But Gabourey Sidibe has gone on a weight loss journey. I wonder what sparked that, right? And any of y'all remember when Jimmy Kimmel's wife used Gabourey Sidibe to play a joke on Jimmy Kimmel, where, okay, Jimmy Kimmel and his wife were getting married. So at the time, she was like his fiance. So his fiance played a joke where it was like, oh, she would come up in a car and get out. But, she wound up coming up in the car, but then Gabourey Sidibe got out instead of his wife. And then some folks were like, why would Gabourey Sidibe kind of like take a part in a joke like that? Because it seemed like, oh, ha ha, he, this thin white woman is, replaced with this big fat black woman. Ha ha ha. And, I'm not sure what the joke was exactly, was supposed to be. I really don't know. I don't know what was the punchline or what was supposed to be the funny thing about that exactly. I don't know. um, Nevertheless, so a lot of folks, a lot of these plus size women, a few of them have gone on some weight loss journeys, right? Like Gabourey Sidibe is one. Loni Love, Monique, Oprah, Star Jones. Who else? Jennifer Hudson. Missy Elliott. Right? A few of these, plus size women have gone on weight loss journeys. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, it's something to think about though when it comes to this like, body positivity talk, especially when you're in the industry, right? Especially when you want to go further in the industry and you want more opportunities and you want different opportunities, right? It's something to think about, right? But, sometimes some of the women on one hand kind of like don't like being labeled as plus size, as, perhaps Chika is one of those women. But then they'll come to you on some, like when they're trying to sell you something, you know, or get you to support them or something like that, then they'll come at you with some like, I'm a fat bitch too, right? To relate to you and get you to support their ass, right? But then they kind of want to shy away from it and then lose weight and all that stuff, right? All right. Um, but Chika hasn't gone on a weight loss journey yet, but she probably will, especially if she keeps getting attention. And then she kind of gets to a point where she feel like, okay, what's the next step? Then some weight loss company or something will probably approach her and you know give her some good deal, give her some good promo and advertisement and stuff like that. Cut her a nice check to lose some weight, right? And say you lost weight because of this, like they did with Jennifer Hudson, right? No shade, I'm just saying, hey, if you're getting money like that, go ahead and get paid to be healthy, get paid to lose weight. I'm not mad at you. But the thing is, though, don't lose too much weight, though. Don't lose too much weight. Hollywood wants their big black mammies fat, black, and asexual. All right. If you change it up, then Hollywood, the entertainment industry, and mainstream America will turn on your ass. Star Jones, Oprah Winfrey, Missy Elliott, hell, even Monique. Right. Oprah Winfrey's like, oh, I got to get fat again. Shit, I'm going to lose all my $1 billion. Like, So, something to think about there, too. Next, I want to kind of speak on Loni Love. All right, so for Loni Love, her situation, folks have been talking about her, being single, plus size, no kids, kind of like, being at a certain age too. I think she's like in her late 40s. So folks kind of coming at her like that, you know. And, I think Loni, she knows, I think she is aware of her situation that she's in, although she's just trying to put on a brave face for the world so that she doesn't look like extremely and totally like pathetic and sad. You don't want people to look at you like, oh, I feel so bad for you. I pity you. You don't want that shit. So I get Loni on that, you know. And also, once a woman hits a certain age, she's going to want at least one of three things. And, correct me if I'm wrong, ladies. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she's going to want either kids, a husband, or a long-term relationship. Once she hits about, I say, mid to late 40s, that's when that's really going to be like, oh, thinking about something. Usually by that time, women have at least one of those three things. Sometimes some women don't, and that does play a factor in sort of, how people perceive them and how they perceive themselves, right? But, think about it and be honest, At least just be honest. At least if you can't be honest publicly, at least be honest with yourself privately. And it's nothing wrong to want one of those, at least one of those three things, right? And I just think that if you're honest about it, you may be in a better position to, deal with the situation. All right. But, some black women want to hide and, behind the strong and independent facade. And this is why, a lot of black women grow old and die alone, you know? Also because of, um, being, very just confined and constricted only to black men, that plays a factor in it too. Some black women, scream loud and proud, it's, she would rather die alone than not be with a black man. I've seen that some woman type that in like a comment section before, and I'm like, you might not want to just go throwing that out there like that. But hey, if that's helping you get dates, then go for it. But I really don't see that helping you get a date. And then some black women and some folks in general, black folks in general want to come at Loni because she a swirler now, right? And it's just like, well, okay, Lonnie's kind of like at a certain age. And, I'm happy that Lonnie was smart enough, to just consider her options, right? Ultimately, that's just what it is. It's just considering all the options that you have available to you, right? But of course, black women love to push back on that shit. For some reason, right? It's one thing just to be like, oh, it's not for me. It's one thing, but it's another thing when it's like, oh, that's not for you, right? As if you can be dictating what other folks do. And again, black women try to do that with, black men and black women for some reason. Some, right? Try to do that. And it's like mind your pussy, you know? Quit cock blocking. Like, what's going on with your relationship? Because apparently it must not be too much popping off in your relationship, right? Because you too busy trying to regulate everybody else's relationship. Again, something to think about. Let's see what else I wanted to talk about before I. All right, Monique. I want to talk about Monique for a quick second. Monique, she has gone on a weight loss journey, as I mentioned. But if you remember back in the day, Monique kind of low key got her come up off of, you know, one being the big black woman, but also telling jokes about skinny women. Right? Y'all remember when Monique used to tell them skinny women jokes? I didn't know that those jokes actually offended some skinny women. I just thought they was like, oh, ha. Some skinny women, they ain't like those jokes. I had one coworker, she didn't like them jokes, all right? And she was just like, don't be mad at me because you ate too much fried chicken. And it's, I didn't know that folks, they really felt that way. But, that's a conversation too, where it's like, oh, it's okay to shame the skinny women. But when, folks are doing the fat shaming, then that's an issue, right? When fat folks want to shame skinny folks, it's okay, it's cool. But when skinny folks want to shame fat folks, then, then it's like, oh, that's wrong. We need to be more inclusive and, you know, accepting and all that shit. All right. Um, but notice Monique doesn't tell those jokes anymore. She doesn't make those jokes anymore. Notice that. And some folks may say, well, some folks may have felt like those jokes came from like a negative place of her being like, hateful or envious or resentful of skinny women. So that's where the jokes really came from, you know. And of course, she was doing it as a joke and under the guise of jokes. So she was able to sort of get away with it, right? But yes, notice like she doesn't make those type of jokes anymore, though. I don't know what she makes jokes about nowadays, besides maybe like on occasions like Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels. I'm not sure what she makes jokes about now. Interesting. Um, but yeah, ultimately, that's kind of like what I guess my whole little 2 cents about the situation with Chika and just, plus size black women in the industry in general, right? And then some people were like, well, couldn't they have gotten, another woman in the place of Chica's, like a plus size non-black woman in the place of Chika instead? And they could have, but they're not probably going to do that though, because for some reason, when it comes to like black women, they always kind of want black women to be sort of like the anomaly, the edgy one, quote unquote, especially when it comes to like dark skinned black women. They want them to be like some sort of anomaly, the edgy one, the one that's like, pushing some sort of a boundary, whether it's like gender boundaries or what else? Weight boundaries, I'm guessing that's one too. Um, again, being edgy in some sort of a way, you know. And you can even pick up on that on like some modeling shows. If you ever watch some modeling shows, that happens too. So, you know, there you have it. I think the posing could have been better for Chika. That would have worked. That would have helped her a lot more if they just had better posing and better lighting, a better background. You know, it seemed like this was sort of like an afterthought or like no thought at all. Yeah, I don't was much effort even put into this. You know, but that's my those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Into the next video. Adios and goodbye for now.